The city's neon lights flickered in the night, but they couldn't illuminate the gloom in my heart. I drove, tailing my wife, Lou Rian's car from distance. Her car sped down the road, like a cornered beast fleeing in the darkness. Suddenly, a sharp screech of brakes tore through the night sky, followed by the deafening clang of metal colliding violently, a sound that seemed poised to rip the night open. My heart jolted. I slammed on the brakes, nearly hitting the car in front of me in my panic. Once I stopped the car, I jumped out and sprinted wildly towards the crash scene. The sight that met my eyes froze me instantly to the spot, horror gripping my heart. A commercial van had T-boned Lou Rian's car like a savage beast. The car's body was completely caved in, as if crushed by an invisible giant hand. Half of the van's front was even wedged into the mangled chassis. Shattered glass littered the ground, glinting coldly under the headlights. My heart burned with panic. All the anger and resentment I'd felt moments before were now replaced by fear. I didn't have time to figure out what had happened, nor could I spare a thought for settling scores with that lover. Trembling, I pulled out my phone, my fingers fumbling frantically on the screen as I dialed the emergency services. "Hello, emergency services? There's been a car accident here at..." My voice trembled uncontrollably as I quickly explained the situation and location. After hanging up, I rushed to the passenger side. Peering inside through the shattered window, I saw a man slumped over the airbag, his face covered in so much blood his features were indistinguishable. The gruesome sight made my stomach churn. Fighting back nausea, I reached out to check his breathing. My fingertips touched his cold skin. My heart sank. He was already gone. I stood there stunned, unable to process anything for a long moment, my mind a complete blank. Pulling myself together somewhat, I stumbled over to the driver's side to check on my wife. The sight nearly made me collapse. Her body was twisted almost beyond recognition, covered in blood that flowed down the seat and pooled beneath the car in a shocking puddle. It was clear she wouldn't make it. A whirlwind of emotions engulfed me. Grief, anger, and above all, profound confusion. Suddenly, I remembered there was someone else, the lover's sister, Su Ching-won. I quickly moved around to the other side of the car and found her still in the back seat. She was breathing, but had passed out from blood loss. I carefully lifted Su Ching-won out. Her body was limp, devoid of strength. In the dim light, I saw severe injuries on her left shoulder and thigh. Blood was gushing out like two breaching streams. Watching Su Ching-won's disfigured face twitching in unconsciousness, her brow furrowed tightly, her teeth clenched slightly as if enduring immense pain. A thrill of vengeance surged through me. My wife had cheated, and this woman before me was the culprit. She had introduced them and pushed them together. I couldn't let her die so easily. I wanted her to pay for what she had done. I turned and ran back to my car, frantically rummaging through the trunk, hoping to find something suitable to bandage her wounds. But after searching the entire trunk, apart from some miscellaneous items, there was nothing usable. In desperation, without a second thought, my hands trembling, I stripped off my own shirt and pants. Heedless of any onlookers, heedless of my own disheveled state, I haphazardly wrapped her wounds. After a clumsy struggle, the bleeding finally subsided somewhat. I slumped onto the roadside, holding Su Ching-won tightly in my arms, my mind blank once more. I don't know how much time passed before a series of sirens grew louder, and two ambulances pulled up beside the road. I lifted Su Ching-won from my arms onto a stretcher, watching the paramedics bustling around, my mind still adrift in confusion. "Were you the one who called for help?" I numbly raised my head and saw it was a uniformed officer speaking, a young assistant standing beside him. "Who was the deceased to you?" Seeing I didn't answer, the middle-aged man asked again. "My wife's friend. The tow truck will be here soon. You should take these personal belongings for now." The officer patted my shoulder gently, offered a few words of comfort, then instructed his assistant to hand me 2 handbags and a wallet. I took them and found the bags contained cosmetics, cell phones, and both their ID cards. I pulled the SIM cards out of both phones, put them in my pocket, and got into the ambulance at the medic's urging. Su Ching-won had received a blood transfusion and remained in a deep coma. These past few days, I've kept vigil by her bedside, plotting my revenge. My name is He Jian. I own a meat processing plant and food company. My wife, Lu Rian, was a teacher at a training center. Su Qingwan was her colleague, sharing similar interests and values. They quickly became best friends. Su Qingwan told my wife Lu Ruyan that I was stingy, unromantic, and that her marriage to me must be unhappy. So, whenever they went shopping, they would bring Su Qingwan's brother along, intentionally trying to set him up with Lu Ruyan. And indeed, I was clueless about romance, always absorbed in my business, busy supporting the livelihoods of over 40 people, not even noticing the immense changes in my wife. Not until I was treating a client to dinner and saw the two of them emerging from a hotel, holding each other, did I realize I'd been cuckolded. Unexpectedly, fate intervened and sent that damn couple straight to hell. It's just a pity they didn't suffer a fate worse than death. They got off easy. Since it was summer, worried the bodies would decompose, I took it upon myself to have them both turn to ash. Since you loved each other so much in life, you could be together forever in death. Who told me to be such a great benefactor, helping others fulfill their desires? I'm just too kind. Serves me right for being cuckolded. When Su Qingwan's parents rushed over from their hometown, they received a large sum in compensation. It was an amount they could never earn in a lifetime of farming. Coupled with my persuasion and a local influence of the person responsible for the accident, the old couple went home clutching 2 boxes of ashes. Lu Ruyan and Su Qingwan resembled each other 70 to 80% in face and figure. Adding confirmation for myself, as an involved party and the deceased husband, the identity of the survivor as my wife, Lu Ruyan, was cemented. Gazing at the unconscious Su Qingwan lying in bed, I felt a tremor within me. From now on, there would be no Su Qingwan in this world. The woman before me would become my wife, Lu Ruyan. It felt as if an unseen hand was manipulating everything, and perhaps this was the outcome my heart had secretly craved all along. I took out old photos of Lu Ruyan and gave them to the best plastic surgeons in the city, hoping they could alter Su Qingwan's appearance to match Lu Ruyan's before she regained consciousness. Of course, I wouldn't tell the doctors the truth. The official story was that I simply didn't want her to see her own disfigured face. Moved by my apparent devotion to my wife, they reassured me they would do their utmost. Motivated by both sentiment and money, the surgeons truly went all out, performing multiple procedures: skin grafts, fillers, transplants, and cheekbone reduction. In the private room, looking at Su Qingwan, her head wrapped in thick bandages, I possessed her for the first time, breathing heavily, working relentlessly, until I unexpectedly began to feel weak and drained. A faint melancholy touched my heart, and a strange drowsiness washed over me. Cradling her water-soft body, I fell into a deep sleep. I woke late the next morning to find the woman in my arms gone. Startled, I quickly found a nurse to ask. It turned out Su Qingwan had woken up and been taken by the doctors for an examination. Seeing me fast asleep, they hadn't disturbed me. My heart leaped into my throat. A long time passed, and still, Su Qingwan didn't return. I couldn't help but worry. I searched around again, but still couldn't find any trace of her, and anxiety began to grip my heart. Suddenly, the sound of rapid, chaotic footsteps came from outside the door. Someone pushed the door open and entered. It was Su Qingwan, her bandages removed. The plastic surgery fee was high, but I was extremely satisfied with the results. Su Qingwan's face was now even more beautiful than Lu Ruyan's had been, with more defined features. Hejian, quick, tell them. I'm Su Qingwan, not Lu Ruyan. Where's my brother? Where is he? Boo-hoo. You haven't fully recovered from your injuries. You need to take care of yourself, the doctor and nurse urged beside her. Su Qingwan ignored them completely, her beautiful eyes fixed squarely on me. I stood up, walked over, and hugged her tightly. Wife, I know you can't accept your best friend's death. Don't be sad anymore. From now on, I won't be so busy with work. I'll stay home and be with you. She shoved me away, fiercely. Get lost. I'm not your wife. Just looking at you makes me sick. I stepped forward, blocking the doctor and nurse. Don't say things you don't mean in anger. I can drop everything now, dedicate myself completely to helping you get through this darkness. Okay? She let out a wail and burst into tears, pounding on my chest with clenched fists, thudding sounds echoing. I held her tightly in my arms. "Wife, this is a hospital. Stop making a scene. Let's go home, okay?" As I spoke, my thumb pressed a pressure point on the back of her neck. She instantly fainted. Feigning panic, I scooped her up and laid her on the hospital bed. Doctor, doctor, what's wrong with my wife?" The doctor hurried over to examine her. After a moment, he said to me, "Your wife just woke up. She couldn't handle the reality of the situation and fainted from excessive grief. It's nothing serious." I looked up, meeting the doctor's gaze. "Why does she think she's her dead best friend?" The doctor explained, "This is a common dissociative disorder. Her subconscious believes she caused her friend's death. Out of guilt and psychological pressure, she has developed a second personality to alleviate her sense of guilt and find mental comfort." I asked hurriedly, "Can it be treated?" The doctor clicked his tongue. "Currently, it can only be managed with medication, but the side effects can be quite significant. You need to be prepared for that." I nodded. "That's all right, as long as she can remember who I am. I don't want her not even recognizing her own husband. I can see you care deeply for your wife. Rest assured, her symptoms aren't too severe yet. With early intervention, a full recovery is possible." My hand slipped into his pocket. "Then I'll have to trouble you, doctor." Once her physical condition had mostly recovered, I arranged for her discharge and brought Su Qingwan home under the name Lu Ruyan. To prepare for her arrival, I had specially modified the basement, creating a padded room with double security doors. Whenever Su Qingwan claimed she wasn't Lu Ruyan, I would make her take the medication. Everyone else, including my parents-in-law, would believe I was a devoted husband, standing by her through thick and thin. When they heard about what happened to Lu Ruyan, they came to our house immediately. As soon as they entered, I showed the medical records to the elderly couple. Tears streamed down their faces as they hugged me. "You've suffered so much, son-in-law. I'll be counting on you to take care of Ruyan from now on." I patted the parents' backs. Of course. After all, I'm her husband. Then I led the parents to the basement, opened the door, and saw Su Qingwan hiding in the corner. When Su Qingwan saw Lu Ruyan's parents, she abruptly stood up. "Let me out. This is illegal imprisonment. I'm going to call the police on you." I said softly, "Ruyan, Mom and Dad are here to see you." Lu Ruyan's parents immediately went over, wanting to hug their daughter, but Su Qingwan dodged them and pointed at them furiously. "You've all been fooled by this butcher. I'm not Lu Ruyan. I'm Su Qingwan. I'm your daughter's best friend. Your daughter died long ago, along with my brother." I took out the medicine bottle, poured out the pills prescribed by the doctor, and walked over. "Darling, it's time for your medicine." She slapped the medicine out of my hand. "Get lost. I'm not sick. Why should I take medicine? You're the ones who need medicine. You don't even recognize your own wife and daughter." I crouched down, picked up the pills one by one, sighed, and turned to the parents. "Mom, Dad, you've seen the situation? What do you think I should do?" Lu Ruyan's mother covered her mouth. "Child, just listen to Juyin. Mom and Dad will come see you again when we have time." Lu Ruyan's father had already gone outside. The old couple also had a son. My ability to marry the beautiful Lu Ruyan was largely thanks to my brother-in-law. If his girlfriend hadn't made such outrageous demands, how else would Lu Ruyan have ended up becoming my wife over the bride price? At the door, the old couple didn't know what else to say. In the past, whenever they visited, it was always about money, either needing sponsorship for the brother-in-law's house purchase or money for his car. Well now, if you dare to cross me, I can just return the goods. You can deal with this lunatic yourselves. Watching the old couple leave straight away, without looking back, I figured it would be a long time before I saw them again. I returned to the basement, dropped the smile, and revealed a vicious look. "Su Qingwan, never expected this, did you? That one day you'd fall into my hands." Su Qingwan was stunned upon hearing this. "So, I'm really not sick. I really am Su Qingwan." Then she looked at me. "He Jian, what are you doing? Why did you make me look like Lu Ruyan?" I snorted coldly. "Why? What do you think it's for?" She lowered her head guiltily. "I don't know." I lifted her chin, forcing her to look directly at me. "Now that you're in my hands, stop deceiving yourself. Lu Ruyan betrayed me. Don't tell me you had nothing to do with it." Realization dawned on Su Qingwan. Horrified, she asked, "The car crash, was it arranged by you?" My gaze was sharp. "Do you think I let betrayers off that easily? That was genuinely an accident. They got off easy. Saying this, I fixed my gaze on Su Qingwan. Now you know why I made you look like Lu Ruyan, don't you? She huddled in the corner. He Jian, please let me go. I won't dare do it again. Don't worry, I absolutely won't tell anyone, I swear. I advanced on her step by step, looming over her. What good is your oath? You are Lu Ruyan now. You have Lu Ruyan's face. You use Lu Ruyan's ID card. The identity of Su Qingwan has already been canceled. No such person exists in the world anymore. Just accept your fate. She kept her head down, muttering impossible. There must be something that can prove my identity. There must be. Saying this, she raised her hands. My fingerprints? During a violent outburst where you injured someone, your fingerprints were completely worn off. She looked up. How is that possible? It must have been you. Our eyes met. I gave a wicked smile. Of course it was me. Did you think I wouldn't anticipate what you'd think of? Oh, and don't even think about using a DNA test, unless you want to have no relatives left in this world. Then I crouched down, grabbing her hand. Of course, all of this is predicated on you being able to get out of here. Don't forget, you're mentally ill. You have a doctor's certificate. No one will believe a word you say. She tried to pull her hand back, but how could she match my strength? Brother Jian, what exactly do you want? Does torturing me satisfy the hatred in your heart? I charged at her brutally. How will I know if I don't try? After the furious assault ended, she lay prone on the ground. Can you let me out now? I looked at her with mocking amusement. What do you think? She suddenly scrambled to her knees. I'm begging you, Brother Jian, just let me go. Treat me like nothing and let me go. I'll do anything you want. I stuck out my foot. Really anything? She immediately scrambled over and grabbed my foot. That I hadn't expected, but I don't have such sick taste, so I pulled my foot back. Pinning her by the shoulders, I demanded, I just wanted to live a decent life. What did I do wrong? Why did you have to destroy my home? She could only apologize repeatedly, kowtowing. She likely had no other way. I threw Lu Ruyan's clothes at her. From today on, change every day. I don't want to see you in front of me wearing the same thing twice. She picked up one item, trembling violently. Can I not wear these? I don't want to wear clothes Lu Ruyan wore. I took out bread and milk. You can choose to wear them or not. And I can choose whether to let you eat or not. Her gaze flickered away. She turned and started to unbutton her clothes. Turn around. Don't make me say it again. Su Qingwan turned back. I appraised her current beauty as if admiring a work of art. When she finished changing and stood before me, I handed her the bread and milk. Su Qingwan was ravenous. She snatched them up, tore open the packaging, gulped down the milk, then ripped open the bread and stuffed it into her mouth. I watched her eat with fascination. For a moment, I was lost in a trance, as if she truly were Lu Ruyan. If she hadn't met Su Qingwan, Lu Ruyan and I would have been such a devoted couple. She did the laundry and cooking for me, massaged my shoulders and rubbed my back when I was tired, took care of me all night when I drank too much. It would be a lie to say I had no feelings for her. But ever since she had the affair, I've asked myself countless times, was it my fault? When I first met her, she dressed plainly, her only jewelry the gold wedding ring. On most days, she wore only light makeup. She had natural beauty and needed no other adornment. But after meeting Su Qingwan, she came home later and later, went out more and more, and spent increasingly larger sums of money. Her clothes never cost less than $1,000. She used only full sets of imported cosmetics. Her accessories had to match her outfits perfectly. If it had been her own money, I might have turned a blind eye. But she actually dipped into my money. Yes, I'm frugal, but that money was meant for buying new equipment, for paying my employees' wages. We had our first fight ever. It was the first time she stayed out all night, and she didn't go to her parents' place. She went to Su Qingwan's. According to the script, Su Qingwan fed Lu Ruyan. A modern woman should be independent and autonomous, the heroine of her own world, relying on no one, living her authentic self, bravely being herself. But the money for you to be yourself, why should I have to pay for it? Even your best friends and your lover's expenses were put on my tab? Well, some kind of pathetic doormat. Your friend Su Qingwan looked down on my background, scorned my looks. Yet on what basis did you let her spend my money so freely, building her so-called independent woman image? You're so independent. So how come when your parents told you to give your brother money, you came asking me? At this thought, I forced Su Qingwan's head down. I held it there for a long time, only stopping when white foam frothed at her lips. I left her with his sweet dreams, see you tomorrow, and departed. I wasn't afraid she'd escape. She was Lu Ruyan now. No one could prove her real identity. No one would believe the words of a crazy person. But I wouldn't let her off easily. The surveillance camera overhead was intelligent. If she went near the electronic boundary line I'd set, it would trigger an alarm. The piercing sound was a powerful deterrent, enough to affect a normal person's judgment. When I appeared before Su Qingwan with breakfast, she had already changed into a new set of clothes. She no longer spouted defiant words like the previous days, nor did she plead for mercy. She silently ate all the food, then just looked at me. I checked the logs. She hadn't touched the boundary line, meaning she had given up the idea of escaping. As a reward, for lunch, I prepared steak and sausages produced by our company and brought her a bottle of dry red wine. Her table manners were far from elegant. She still wolfed down her food as if I would snatch it away the next second. After she ate, I took out a clean white handkerchief and wiped the grease from her mouth and hands. She stood there obediently, letting me do as I pleased. This made me very curious. What exactly was going through her mind? In the evening, besides bringing her dinner, I also brought her a radio so she could pass some of the boring time when she was idle, lest I actually drive her insane. That wouldn't be fun anymore. Before going to sleep, I glanced at the monitor. She was already asleep, or at least appeared to be. The radio emitted static. Did she think that the more she resisted, the more excited I would become? So she believed that if I couldn't experience the pleasure of revenge on her, I would let her go? What joke? My hatred wasn't that cheap, nor was I that magnanimous. It was just that looking at her, I momentarily couldn't tell whether she was Lu Ruyan or Su Qingwan. It almost made me feel like I was the one with the split personality. But what did it matter? I wouldn't let either of them off so easily. She remained compliant like this for a month. My father-in-law and mother-in-law visited once. To be safe, I didn't let them inside but showed them the surveillance feed, to prove she was still alive and well, and that I hadn't mistreated her. My parents-in-law offered a few words of praise, nothing more than saying I was taking good care of her, that Lu Ruyan was recovering well. But the main purpose of their visit this time was still their son. My brother-in-law aimed high, wanting to start his own business, so he mortgaged the house behind the family's back. He simply wasn't cut out for business. The result was predictable. He lost everything. With the house about to be repossessed, they had no choice but to pin their hopes on me. I asked the two how much money they needed. They exchanged a look, their hands gesturing under the table for a while, before one finally said 300,000 and the other said 350,000. I put on a troubled expression. Business hasn't been good lately, as you both know. I only have 500,000 in my account right now. I have to pay the workers, cover various expenses, and pay for Ruyan's treatment. It's difficult for me too. After speaking, I spread my hands. I was actually thinking of asking you two if I could borrow a little, but it seems hopeless now. My mother-in-law said, could you maybe talk to the workers? Ask them if you can pay them a few days later? I quickly waved my hand. Absolutely not. Right now, I'm relying on them to earn some money. If I don't pay their wages and they get upset and go on strike, then there'll be no income at all. My father-in-law lit a cigarette. How about this? Stop Ruyan's treatment for now. I think she's recovered quite a bit already. Pay off the debt first, then treat her slowly later. I didn't speak, just looked at my mother-in-law. She sighed. I suppose that's the only way. I took out a sheet of white paper and a pen. Let's keep a record, just in case Ruyan asks. I'll say I wanted to help, but didn't have the money. That way, she can't say I lied to her. The old couple thought it over carefully before finally signing and adding their fingerprints. But I only gave them 150,000 yuan, telling them to find other ways to get the rest. Actually, I knew perfectly well that my brother-in-law's so-called business was just gambling. After all, everyone around here knew what kind of character he was. If he had even a shred of ambition, he wouldn't be in this state. But I didn't call him out on it. It's a bottomless pit. Unless he has a complete change of heart, even mountains of gold and silver would be squandered by him. After seeing them off, I went down to the basement. Before going in, I checked the surveillance monitor. No one hiding behind the door. Today, Lu Ruyan's parents came. Do you know why they were here? Su Qingwan shook her head, her face expressionless. I don't know. A corner of my mouth lifted. Actually, you understand. Just like your parents. When I gave them the 2 boxes of lime, they didn't even open the lids to look inside. Instead, they thanked me profusely. Her shock was plain to see. What did you say? Impossible. I placed the food in front of her. Finally, a different reaction from you. Uncharacteristically, she didn't reach for it, instead looking at me. You're lying to me, aren't you? I handed her the note her parents had signed and the one Lou Rian's parents had just written. Would I need to? Her hands trembled as she took them, still unable to believe what she was seeing. She abruptly threw the papers down and grabbed my collar tightly with both hands. You're lying. These are forged. You just want me to give up hope. I push her away forcefully. Give up hope? Didn't you say I was an honest man, incapable of scheming? Would an honest man forge something like you claim? Or do you think you're in any position to make anyone believe you right now? Don't flatter yourself. How about we make a bet? Her expression darkened. Bet what? I prove these documents are real, and you willingly bear me a child. She waved her hand dismissively, agitated. Forget proving it. I'll cooperate and have your child. You just give me back my freedom afterward, deal? I shrugged. Where's the fun in that? She pointed at herself. Don't you just want revenge? I have Lou Rian's face. Hit me. Curse me. I can take it all. Why do you have to treat me like this? I cupped her face in my hands. Do you know how much money I spent on this face? Do you want to see what you looked like before you became this? Hit you? I couldn't bear to. As I spoke, I kissed her. So, are you taking the bet? Her eyes were lifeless. Whatever. Whatever. Fine by me. She silently endured everything that followed, no longer cooperative like before, just going through the motions. Before long, she showed me a pregnancy test stick, telling me she was pregnant. I put down food for her. Good. Starting today, I won't touch you again, and I'll arrange for everything you need. She grabbed my arm. Pregnant women need sunlight for calcium. Can you let me see the sun? Don't worry, I won't run. I have nowhere else to go, and besides, I'm carrying your child. She sounded sincere. I patted her hand. I haven't restricted your freedom. The door is right there, but you've never once tried to open it. I stared into her eyes. What exactly are you worried about or afraid of? She lowered her head and shook it slightly, saying nothing. When I turned to leave, she remained standing there, completely still. But an hour later, the surveillance alerted me that she had gone to the door. From the moment I learned she was pregnant, I had disabled the electronic alarm system, afraid of frightening her into a miscarriage. She was touching the door, muttering something under her breath. Her voice was too low for the monitor to pick up, but soon she turned back, without even touching the doorknob. Didn't she even have the courage to try? I was in the office handling documents when the front desk contacted me, saying someone wanted to see me. I had the front desk bring the person to the meeting room, then continued with the work I had on hand. After finishing my work, I went to meet the person. He looked like a naive university student, his eyes revealing a clear sort of foolishness. You were looking for me? He rubbed his hands together, looking embarrassed. Well, I'm Su Ching-wan's boyfriend. I attended her funeral. Get to the point. He gave an awkward smile. I bought her phone from her parents, but it had already been factory reset. A lot of stuff was overwritten by their things, but I still managed to learn something from the recovered content. My brow furrowed. What did you learn? He took out a USB drive and waved it in his hand. Their deaths might be related to you. Now, there was no clarity in his eyes, only foolishness. I asked curiously, then why don't you go to the police? She's already dead. What good would reporting it to the police do? Saying this, he leaned close to my ear. Give me $1 million, and I'll keep this to myself. I push him away. Go to the police? Be my guest. Threaten me? You're not qualified, nor do you have the ability. He was astonished. Aren't you worried the stuff on here could cost you your life? I had security escort him out directly and paid him no further attention. There was nothing suspicious about the car accident. If there was some hidden story, it had absolutely nothing to do with me. As a result, Su Ching-wan's boyfriend started an account on a short video platform with sensational headlines like, "My wife cheated, innocent best friend died, tragically on the street, hired killer arrogant, threatens to kill my whole family. Ordinary people have nowhere to seek justice. Local police are the biggest protectors." Instantly, the internet exploded, and the topic remained trending high. My identity was exposed, and my company's products were instantly boycotted across the entire internet. calling my business an unethical sweatshop. Returns flooded my office. I had the warehouse manager accept the goods and the finance department issue refunds. But not only did I not stop production, I even added 2 more production lines and started manufacturing at full capacity. I also started a live streaming channel for sales, hired 3 beautiful women, and broadcast nonstop, 24 hours a day. They only introduced the products and didn't look at the public comments to avoid affecting their mood. Tens of thousands watched the live stream, but very few placed orders. Even those who did would immediately request a refund. Despite this, I continued production and posted short videos with various advertisements. Now, I was the biggest trending topic. Everyone in the company and the factory thought I'd gone mad. I held a meeting with them, telling them to relax, that this was an opportunity to make a fortune. But they didn't believe me. They even thought the company could go bankrupt at any moment. I slammed my hand on the table. Anyone who wants to resign can submit their application now. I won't stop you. But if you think you can come back later, forget about it. In the end, 4 people resigned, which didn't cause any substantial harm to the company. As for the factory, as long as wages were paid, everything was fine. But if the pay stopped, production capacity would drop to 0. I saved every video Su Qingwan's boyfriend posted. When I showed them to Su Qingwan, I added mockingly, "Look at the kind of trash you dated." Su Qingwan looked up at me. "Isn't what he's saying true?" I shook my head speechlessly. "No wonder you two got together. A match made in heaven, truly. A pair of idiots." With that, I took out the mediation agreement and the video of her boyfriend trying to blackmail me, showing them to her. This is your boyfriend's true face. Everyone just wants to use you as a tool to make money. Believe it or not, if I gave him the money, he'd assume the so-called evidence on your phone was real, and he'd try to leech off me for the rest of his life. She was shocked once again. But despite her shock, she still wanted me to let her boyfriend off the hook. I hadn't realized she was such a hopeless romantic. Why should I let him off the hook? She lowered her head. If you let him go, I admit that for the rest of my life, I will only have one identity, your wife, Lu Ruyan. In body and mind, the name Su Qingwan will never cross my lips again. Although her terms held absolutely no appeal to me, I still asked her, "Is it worth it for a scumbag?" Unexpectedly, her love blindness was incurable. "He's not a scumbag. He must have run into some trouble. That's why he was forced to do this." But while I had no problem letting him off the hook, the law enforcement department certainly didn't plan to. His defamation and slander charges stuck, and public prosecution was initiated. Initially, some people online cried injustice for him, thinking he was being targeted, especially since his leg was broken when the video was trending, which further convinced people it was a wrongful accusation, suggesting I had powerful connections locally. This also led to intervention from the highest levels. Su Qingwan's boyfriend's account was banned for spreading false information, and all related videos were removed from all platforms. And during a television interview, he revealed the truth. He had actually found a new girlfriend who was quite generous. They quickly reached the point of discussing marriage, but her parents demanded a bride price of 300,000 yuan and a wedding house. Having no other choice, he decided to try his luck with his dead ex-girlfriend. Unexpectedly, he actually found something problematic, which gave him the idea to blackmail her. When that failed, he resorted to this desperate measure out of helplessness. The entire internet was shocked. Law enforcement officials personally debunked the rumors for me. Not only was I not a black-hearted boss, but my factory also employed many disabled people, easing employment pressure and providing jobs for the disabled. I was portrayed as an outstanding entrepreneur with a conscience, a good person who shouldn't suffer such injustice. Numerous media reporters swarmed in to inspect the production environment of my factory. The fully automated equipment was bought at great expense. Inside the dust-free workshop, every production line strictly followed national standards and procedures, clean and hygienic. Interviewing my employees? Naturally, the reviews were overwhelmingly positive, whether fabricated or genuine. Especially the story about me selling my house and land just to pay employee wages. It sounded completely fake, yet the vast majority of enthusiastic netizens believed it. My reputation underwent a dramatic reversal. I was met with apology consumption and guilt consumption. The production lines were running practically nonstop, and the workers worked around the clock. I wasn't stingy either, handing out cash bonuses directly every day. The brand was established, and fame followed. People picking up goods from the factory were an endless stream. The unit price even started rising before the goods left the factory gate. One phone call from me, and truckloads of fresh raw meat would be delivered. I never had this kind of treatment before. The live stream sold out completely. The people responsible for packing deliveries had packing tape piled up like small mountains. But I didn't let the streamers in the broadcast. Instead, I had them play soft music, chat, and express various thanks. Of course, I didn't take any of the virtual gifts donated during the live stream. I gave them all to the 3 beautiful streamers. They streamed even more enthusiastically, even showcasing their talents and skills. My father-in-law and mother-in-law, undoubtedly prompted by my brother-in-law, also started a live stream, claiming to be my parents, not my parents-in-law. They talked about how well I treated Lou Ruyan, adding that Lou Ruyan had developed a mental illness, and that I not only stood by her, but also actively sought treatment for her. Naturally, there were comments in the live stream revealing the truth, and quite a few donations came with them. Many praised me, and quite a few cursed Lou Ruyan, saying her mental illness was retribution. I didn't tell Su Qingwan any of this because she was already 7 months pregnant. I didn't want these matters to affect the child in her belly. I registered her and arranged her prenatal checkups under Lou Ruyan's identity. She was very cooperative, staying by my side and never wandering off. Due to adequate nutrition, her figure had become quite swollen, especially her feet. She could only wear slippers now. Also, she was lazy and didn't like to move much. Chances were 80% she was carrying a girl. They say sour cravings mean a boy, spicy means a girl. Her particular fondness for hot and sour glass noodle soup made me wonder, was she maybe a tomboy? Anything but an effeminate son would be fine. She had also accepted her current identity, at least on the surface. She would call me husband, she would pick out clothes for me. When others called her Lou Ruyan, she would answer immediately. Everything was moving in the right direction. Sometimes when I got busy, I even forgot there ever was a Su Qingwan. Su Qingwan gave birth to a son for me. I immediately arranged for the best local postpartum care center. After her month of confinement, she would personally care for our son and cook meals to bring to my office. I wasn't afraid she'd poison me, because I had given her the best life, a life she couldn't enjoy if she left me. She lived in this world as Lou Ruyan until she saw the news of her parents' deaths. Before she had time to grieve, the comment section was flooded with malicious attacks and curses. She suddenly disappeared from home and spoke out via live stream online. Su Qingwan's eyes were red and swollen, clearly from crying. Hello everyone, I am not Lou Ruyan. My real name is Su Qingwan. I struggled for a long time whether to reveal the truth, but I can't bear it anymore. You curse my parents without reason. As their child, being unable to be there for their final moments is already unfilial. Letting them bear such infamy now is even worse. I don't have a single relative left now. As she spoke, she began to cry, and the live stream's popularity soared. I contacted an online astroturfing service to flood Su Qingwan's stream with comments, just 2 phrases, having an episode, and new script. The content of her tearful accusations was about how I abused her, imprisoned her, and forced her to do things she didn't want to do. But one click into her past video posts showed nothing but her showing off our son, checking in at tourist spots everywhere, designer bags, high-end hotels. The comments below were also uniformly variations of, please find someone like that to treat me this way too. I have serious masochistic tendencies. Meanwhile, stories about Lou Ruyan and Su Qingwan's past were also leaked by former colleagues. One a brother-supporting devotee, the other a vain gold digger. She reported the case, but the law enforcers couldn't accept it because mental patients have cognitive and expressive impairments. Their words lack supporting evidence and have low credibility. So they contacted her guardian, which is me. The law enforcer even kindly advised her, just go back and live nicely with your husband. He treats you so well, you even have a child together. Does it really matter if you're Lou Ruyan or Su Qingwan? That one sentence left Su Qingwan instantly speechless. That's right. Did it matter who she was anymore? What did she have to be dissatisfied about? In the car, she sat in the passenger seat, silent, staring ahead expressionlessly. I didn't know what she was thinking. When the car reached the garage, she finally burst into tears. "I'm sorry, husband." I gave her a mysterious smile. She shivered slightly. I dragged her to the long and used basement. She clutched my wrist tightly. "Husband, I really know I was wrong. The child can't be without a mother." I removed all her accessories and put restraints on her. "It's been a while since we were here. I've added some little surprises for you." Saying this, I opened a drawer and took out a pair of clippers. She struggled, writhing frantically. "Husband, I'll never dare again. Spare me." I patted her delicately maintained face. "Don't move. It would pain me if you got hurt." Watching her hair fall away from her skin bit by bit, tears streamed down her face like rain. "I won't dare. I'll never dare again." I looked at her, smooth and bare. "Is there any point in saying that now? I gave you a chance, but you didn't know how to cherish it." I handed our son over to the maternity nurse and lay alone in bed. Outside, a light rain began to fall, stirring up old memories. I thought about how to vent my anger. Now, Su Qingwan's fate, her life and death, was entirely in my hands. No matter what she said or did, no one would believe her. I heard noise outside. I reached for the bedside lamp, but it didn't turn on. A power outage? Not afraid Su Qingwan would run out, but afraid she'd suffocate. Unexpectedly, just as I opened the door, a heavy object hit my head. I instantly saw stars, and the second blow knocked me unconscious. When I came to again, I was tied to a high-back chair with ropes. My whole body was immobilized except for my neck, which allowed my head to move side to side. Even my mouth was taped shut. On the floor lay the unconscious nanny, blood on her forehead, her condition unknown, whether dead or alive. Worried about my son, I tried to break free from the restraints. This was the living room. Streetlights outside cast light through the window. A figure limped out from the shadows. "Stop struggling. It's a pig trot or not. The more you struggle, the tighter it gets." The tone was ice-cold, filled with endless hatred. It was Su Qingwan's ex-boyfriend who had been imprisoned. Logically, his sentence wasn't up yet. There were only two ways he could be out: medical parole or escape. Judging by the current situation, it was likely the latter. He held my newly bought imported knife, its tip pointed at my heart. "Do you know? You ruined my life. You ruined the woman I loved most. If I don't cut you into 1,000 pieces today, I'll never vent the hatred in my heart. Can you hand him over to me?" As he spoke, Su Qingwan emerged from another area. She was wrapped in thick clothes and wore a woolen hat. Su Qingwan's ex-boyfriend handed her the knife and clapped, saying to me, "Good. They say the mentally ill aren't punished for killing. You didn't expect this, did you? The bullet you fired would one day hit you right between the eyes." Su Qingwan ripped the tape off my mouth. "He Jian, do you have any last words?" I sighed. "Don't hurt our son. Do whatever else you want with me." Her ex-boyfriend patted her shoulder. "Ask him for the bank, TKSY 365-19FFCONE9AF92A4F9631 code, and where the valuables are. We'll need them when we make a run for it." Su Qingwan turned her head. "Run? Why should I run? I am Lu Rian. This is my home." Her ex-boyfriend had a sudden realization. Right, Lu Rian, exactly. If he can become Lu Rian, then I can definitely become He Jian. What a great choice. He rubbed his hands excitedly. "Excellent. All of this will be mine." Su Qingwan turned to look at her ex-boyfriend. "Something you said reminded me." "Which part?" The blade flashed. "The mentally ill aren't punished for killing." Everything happened too fast. Her ex-boyfriend clutched his neck, dying with his eyes wide open, unable to utter a word. Her actions were decisive and ruthless, her eyes showing no hesitation, only pure killing intent, like a professional assassin. Then she looked at me. "He Jian, do you regret not killing me directly back then?" I felt certain I would die today. Closing my eyes, I said, "Is there any point in asking that now?" She didn't answer, instead asking another question. "If you could do it over, would you still choose to save me?" "I don't know. I probably would." She suddenly came over and kissed me. "He Jian, I love you." Although I'm not well read, I knew this must be Stockholm Syndrome. I opened my eyes. "If you love me, then let me go." She refused outright. "No, it's not time yet." Meeting my confused gaze, she caressed my face. "You must think I developed feelings because you imprisoned me, but that's not it. I fell in love with you the first day I met you. Back then, I was so jealous of Lu Ruyan. Why did you get to be your lover? I couldn't accept it. I wanted to snatch you away from her, but you were too good to her, even tolerating her excessive support for her brother. I didn't believe you could tolerate betrayal. You're saying you liked me back then? But all you showed me was disgust and contempt, not a trace of affection. It's true. I have no reason to lie to you. Then why didn't you make it clear, just letting me be locked up? She pressed the emergency call button. First, you were furious then. You definitely wouldn't have believed me. Second, you turned me into Lu Ruyan's likeness, and I wasn't sure how much she really meant to you. Then she handed the receiver to me. In all this, the law enforcement arrived quickly. Su Qingwan's ex-boyfriend was already an escaped convict, and adding home invasion, robbery, and murder to his charges meant an insanity plea could be argued, regardless of whether Su Qingwan, no, Lu Ruyan, was mentally ill or not. Because of this incident, I trended online again. Past news about me was dredged up, and the company's products were once again in high demand, selling out quickly. Lu Ruyan, heavily pregnant, slapped her thigh. My brother owes us so much money. You absolutely have to get it all back, principal and interest. I pushed her hand away, saying irritably, slap your own thigh next time? How could a pregnant woman hit so hard? She used to let me push her around, but now I seriously suspect she could crack my skull open with her bare hands. Under her intimidation, her brother quit gambling too, although the side effects were quite noticeable. He could only eat with his left hand, struggled with chopsticks, and mainly ate soupy rice. The basement was remodeled again, but this time by Lu Ruyan. She changed all the lights there to pink and blue. Sure enough, her taste is still as intense as ever.